You've probably seen the headlines. Microsoft Copilot, the AI ruining Windows, is coming to Xbox, and it gets worse. They also appointed the past head of AI as the new head of Xbox. Xbox was one of the most successful brands ever, but slowly, Microsoft made bad decision after bad decision, and now it's dying. Fans are furious, and the next move is AI? How did we get here? Is there any hope for Xbox? For over a decade, Xbox has been struggling with declining sales, while the Switch and PlayStation have exploded. So Microsoft decided to make some changes, and some of them are a bit strange.
Microsoft Gaming is now in the hands of Asha Sharma, one of Microsoft's AI executives with no prior game industry experience. It's a major leadership transition that suggests Microsoft wants to make serious changes to its gaming division.
Then another concerning announcement. Microsoft announced that Copilot, the AI assistant, the thing ruining 365 apps and Windows, is coming to Xbox, specifically the Xbox Series X and Series S. Okay, but why? Well, according to Sonali Yadav, Xbox's product manager for gaming AI, players can ask Copilot to help if they get stuck. Copilot will reply with suggestions on what to do next. According to Xbox, you can ask it questions like, what was the last achievement I got in Starfield? When does my Game Pass subscription renew? Or which materials are needed to craft a sword in Minecraft? Fans naturally weren't too happy with the news. So, what was Asha Sharma planning? Was Xbox going to be the new AI machine? Well, let's look a bit closer, because the deeper you get, the stranger Xbox's strategy becomes. The return to Xbox. We will meet players where they are and build experiences that are instant and seamless and accessible. In a follow-up interview, she said, the spirit of Return to Xbox is about returning to the spirit that the team was founded on. It's the spirit of surprise. It's the spirit of building something nobody else was willing to try. Okay, still pretty vague. Maybe we can get a bit more clarity from her boss, Satya Nadella. Perhaps in response to the concern, her and Nadella did an internal Q&A session. For me, we're long on gaming. We'll continue to invest and we'll always do so. We have to make sure that the friends we have today are the friends that you have tomorrow. You want to wake up feeling like your friendship has even grown stronger. Whether it's the lover of Forza, Halo, we really want to make sure they love us for what they expect us to do. Asha also said, in regards to strategy, everything is being relitigated. It was also around this time that Asha Sharma announced the codename for our next generation console, Project Helix. She also said something crucial. We will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Games are and always will be art crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. This is a great sentiment, but what if it's too little, too late? It's always been tailing behind Sony's PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, and especially now, things are particularly bad. Q4 2022, Xbox hardware revenue decreased 11%, then 13% again for 2024, then 29% in Q2 2025. This is especially concerning for Microsoft, given the amount they've spent on gaming. As Jez Corden from Windows Central writes, I can't help but feel some of Satya Nadella's comments here are probably long overdue. But it really does seem like Microsoft has identified that it's stepped off the rails a bit as it seeks to find itself in an increasingly chaotic consumer tech market. Xbox used to be a dominant gaming brand, but now it's dying. How did this happen? Will Project Helix save Xbox? Quick note. Some of you know I founded Silo, an investing platform that earns you points on the portfolio you already have. If you're already investing, not using it is basically leaving points on the table. Links in the description. In my opinion, all of this, the AI, the new CEO, everything stems back to a crucial event over 10 years ago. After two very successful console generations, Microsoft released the Xbox One, but this one was a bit different. Fans were confused. Microsoft pitched Xbox One as an all-in-one living room machine for TV, sports, Skype, apps, and entertainment, not just gaming. It came with the Kinect, a massive, expensive motion capture device. It had to always be connected to the internet, and you couldn't initially buy an Xbox without it. As a result, the Xbox One was very expensive, at $500 or $670 in 2024. It was about a $100 premium over the competition, the PlayStation 4. Not only were there very few games for the console, but you couldn't share games anymore either. Fans weren't happy. But then, something weird happened. Xbox's CEO, Don Matrick, said something crazy.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
You know, the console that was released in 2005, 8 years earlier. The Xbox One flopped hard. Microsoft reversed many of the bad decisions, and the new leadership of Phil Spencer made the console more palatable, like removing the Kinect. In its total lifespan, it sold less than half the units of the PS4. Sony won because they prioritized something else. Games. Players had huge libraries of games. It was this moment that changed the course of the history of the Xbox.
Of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us. And I know that
they lost that generation, right? And it was a huge cost to them, because that was the generation that people started their digital libraries, right? That weren't on PC. People on PlayStation have built up those libraries. They're not willing to move away from those libraries now. So they knew they'd lost that real key generation. So the response was, let's do Game Pass, because that will allow people to bring their games to different devices.
Instead of focusing on consoles, they would go all in on just that, digital libraries.
all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way. We lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games.
This was Game Pass. Think of it as Netflix of gaming. Hundreds of games on Xbox or PC for $9.99 a month. I've actually used Game Pass on many occasions, usually for a game I wanted to play for a month but didn't want to pay $60 for. The value is pretty great, at least it was until they hiked the price. But when it launched in 2017, it seemed to change everything. Other companies began doing the same thing, but no one could compete with Microsoft. They were planning something massive, and they weren't gonna spare any expense. In 2023, Microsoft purchased one of the biggest game companies on Earth, Activision Blizzard, for $75.4 billion. This was after a long battle with multiple governments, mind you, and it wasn't the first one either. But most could see what they were doing. Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Diablo, Overwatch, Hearthstone, StarCraft, Spyro, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Candy Crush, Guitar Hero, and that's just the beginning. Microsoft was amassing brands for Game Pass. Not too long prior, they also bought ZeniMax Media, aka Bethesda, for $7.5 billion, in cash too. Not only did they have over a dozen major gaming studios, but they also had The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Quake, Wolfenstein, Dishonored, and more. Close to $90 billion before you include their other gaming acquisitions, all of them now on Game Pass for a small monthly fee. Xbox basically had all of gaming's biggest brands. It seemed like they couldn't lose. So, why did they? Xbox might be dying, but our channel is growing. We're approaching 1 million, so if you could subscribe, it would mean a lot. Despite spending close to $100 billion, Microsoft couldn't get people to buy Xboxes. To be clear, Game Pass was growing. In 2020, it had 10 million memberships, then 15 million, then 25 million in January 2022. By 2025, Game Pass revenue passed $5 billion, but it's not that much considering what Microsoft had spent. Netflix, for comparison, has 325 million subscribers. In fact, Microsoft's total gaming revenue in Q2 2025 decreased $530 million, driven by a decline in Xbox hardware. Xbox content and services revenue increased 2%, driven by growth in Xbox Game Pass. Game Pass was growing, but not enough to move the overall needle. No one really wanted to buy an Xbox. Many people were paying for it on PC, sure, but not so much Xbox. So Microsoft made a pivot, and this is where things went from odd to absurd. On November 14, 2024, Xbox unveiled its new marketing campaign. This is an Xbox. A phone, tablet, your smart TV, your fridge, everything was now an Xbox. The ad wasn't well received, and reportedly, the ad was even hated by Xbox employees. It was pushed by Sarah Bond, who is now leaving with the change in leadership. But there was more going on than just this campaign. Exclusive long-term Xbox brands like Fable, Forza, even Halo would even be releasing on the PS5. Microsoft seemed to be abandoning Xbox, and fans were just confused. Alright Microsoft, I'll get a PS6, geez. I worry for my digital library and the ramifications of Xbox/Microsoft's decision-making. It feels very destructive, and at this point, I think they are trying to rid themselves of the hardware side of the business so they can just focus on software/subscription. At this point, why buy an Xbox? The name of the game for consoles is exclusives. Games you can't buy anywhere else. Nintendo and Sony do this extremely well. The problem with Microsoft's "this is an Xbox" strategy is that it's really just this plays Game Pass. A lot of people love having a library they own and investing in that library. It's why Steam is so massive. Phil Spencer, the previous CEO, even said, "It's not for everybody. If you play 1 or 2 games a year, Game Pass probably isn't the right business model for you. You should just buy those 2 games and that would make total sense." You might be thinking, why do people even care? Who cares about Microsoft turning it into a subscription?
One of the most eagerly awaited video games finally goes on sale.
Preparing to rewrite retail history.
Video game is expected to have bigger first-day revenues than any movie has ever had an opening day at the box office.
Biggest retail launch in entertainment history.
Dozens of grown men and probably about 3 women have crawled out of their parents' basements tonight to be first in line to buy the new video game Halo 2.
From the beginning, Xbox just felt different. It had this sort of rebellious vibe to it. PlayStation felt sleek and defined. Nintendo felt family-friendly and classic. But Xbox was a bit different. It had this edge to it, like what all the cool kids were playing. And this vibe would carry Xbox into the next generation. I don't remember lots about the 2000s, but I sure do remember the Xbox 360. One of my most beloved memories is playing these games with friends. That's why I think people care. You can't have loyal fans if you don't have anything for them to be loyal to. I don't think tribalism or console wars are good, but people like having something to identify with, especially something they grew up with or have nostalgic memories with. Most of our purchases are made with emotion, so why abandon that? It seems like Microsoft realized the mistake. After the big change, they started deleting traces of this ad campaign. Going to the page gives a 404 error. They began to backpedal. New leaders were appointed. I actually have a lot of respect for Phil Spencer, who led before Asha Sharma. He had a vision and it did genuinely seem like an Xbox fan, but it didn't all pan out. For me, I believe Xbox starts with its fans and will grow from there. That's what I wanted to signal with the return to Xbox. Xbox players have thousands of dollars invested in money and time too. It's incredibly important for me to understand that and protect that. I am committed to returning to Xbox. For me, we're long on gaming. We'll continue to invest and will always do so. We have to make sure that the friends we have today are the friends that you have tomorrow. I hope what Nadella and Asha said about Xbox is true. I hope they return to form, not focused on subscriptions or cloud or anything, but just great games. I do actually want Asha and Xbox to succeed, just in a way that serves players and customers, not just shareholders. I do worry about AI in video games. It's an industry already being hurt by layoffs. But to be fair, Microsoft does seem to understand that there's a line that you don't cross. At least there appears to be no plans to use AI to make games, which isn't the case for others. PlayStation is already looking at using AI for dialogue. Nvidia has also added DLSS 5, which essentially enhances quote-unquote the lighting and materials. So hopefully Xbox doesn't also follow suit. Unfortunately for Microsoft, Copilot is already crashing and burning before it even gets to Xbox. There is a lot going on with this AI. Click here to learn the rest of the story. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.